I think Brittany is ridiculous for trademarking it and ridiculous for poking Angie. But if you think about it like this, what if Monica trademarked receipts, proof, timeline? That's ridiculous, right?
Mhm.
Heather said it. It's Heather's. It's about Monica.
Mhm.
But if Monica trademarked it, it would make Monica look stupid.
Well, Brittany looks so fucking dumb.
Brittany looks stupid. Like, I think Angie has the right to be upset about it and annoyed by her. But Brittany, again, cannot read the fucking room and just sits and pokes at her and pokes at her. And I don't agree with it at all. But that, when I thought about it in the terms of Monica and Heather, I got even more angry.
Listener discretion advised. Adult language and mature content.
Alright, we are back. It is 2 Queens, 1 Screen. I'm Jen.
I'm Keeley.
And it's hot here in Florida, actually. You just reminded me that I need to take my sweater off because it's really, really super warm. It's 71 degrees and the sun is not out.
Okay.
We're going to have, it's going to be ridiculous. We're going to have a hot Christmas. Have you had snow yet?
No, not yet. I thought it was snowing today while I was at work, but it just turned to rain. The skies are all white. The mountains are white, but it always ends up being rain so far. So we'll see.
You might get one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have a couple doozies today. We're going to do our Housewives.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about True Crime Storytime. You found a really intense one that I liked. Again, it's about the interrogations, which I think is a really interesting perspective to focus from. But did you have anything you wanted to talk about before we get started?
I do. This week, I got something in the mail that I've been wanting to buy myself forever, but I never wanted to spend a big amount of money on it because I don't know how to use it. I've never had one before. And so I bought a medium amount of money. I spent, a mid-range amount of money on it. And I don't know how to fucking use this thing. I'm going to show you. Here you go. I don't know how to use this fucking thing. Here's the hair dryer. Here's the air wrap. Comes with the brush. It's an air wrap.
I have one that doesn't have the air.
And I don't know how to use it. So the air wrap curling, I think I have the hang of that. It looks really pretty, but my hair uncurls in a half an hour, in 10 minutes. And the blow dryer, the hair dryer is magnificent. This is like a tropical storm. It's just hard and heavy right at my head, but my hair feels weird. Like the texture doesn't feel soft and smooth like when I use like a normal hair dryer. And plus it's just so intense. There is this like a medium setting on it where it's not so windy, but I can't figure out how to use it. And this thing just pulls my hair out. This brush just pulls my hair out and it doesn't curl. It has a regular brush attachment to it, which is beautiful. Really? All of this is it's so nice. And I got it off of Amazon. Shopkins is the brand. It was $85. And I'm so stupid. I don't know how to use it. And I love it so much that I want the curls to stay. The curls with this air dryer are so pretty. But there's two. The bummer thing is I don't know about the $600 one. But there's two.
Dyson one?
Yeah, there's two of these. One goes to the right and one goes to the left. Blows your hair away from your face.
The directional.
Yeah, and blows your hair towards your face. And so when I have to do that to the other side, because I blow it away from, or I curl my hair away from my face, my whole head. Mm-hmm. So I have to switch attachments, which is fine too, but I use it. And I'm sad.
I got the one that doesn't have the air. It just heats up and it has all the different attachments on how to heat it up. And I do like it for because I don't like washing my hair. I don't know how Angie K would feel about it. I don't wash my hair more than twice a week, and
Me either. Me either.
really sweaty. So
Yeah.
I use it to like fix my curls around my face, but that's it. But I can't get my hair to hold curl as it is. Like I had my hair in rollers, like hot rollers today, and let them cool down. They were in my head for over an hour, and it's already all gone. I do still have some body, but I'm mostly just propping it up on my headphones to make it look like I have more volume.
I mean, it tells you to not blow your hair dry all the way, which is fine. But my hair is so curly, it stays kinky, which is, I just have all of these little caveat issues. And so I blow my hair completely dry the whole way. And then I wet it a little bit, wet the part to do the curler. And that seems to curl it better if it's a little bit wet. But then I don't want to keep having to go in and re-wet my hair. But then it doesn't stay. I don't know how to get it to stay, the curl to stay. Because my hair curls and stays perfectly with curling iron or hot rollers. And I'm not using too much hair, right? I'm not using too little hair when I curl it. So I just don't know how to use it. But I'm not going to return it. I love it so much.
All right, so give us your feedback. How do you guys get your hair wrap?
Yeah, what do you like? Like I've watched a million TikTok videos, and the cool shot at the end works well. I do that part. I have product in my hair. My hair is thick. Like I don't know.
Keeley has so much hair.
I don't know what the fuck else to do, but I love it. I don't know. This part is plastic. I don't know if that is a problem where like the Dyson is metal. I don't know. I thought about that too. I don't know. Anyway.
Well, I think your hair looks great.
Hey, thanks. I'm still curling it with a curling iron because I don't know. I shouldn't need this much practice to use these things. Like I don't know.
We need the Gen Z kids to come in and explain this to us. Because I feel like we just see them doing it and it's like takes them 2 seconds.
Yeah, and I don't think that's real. I really don't think it's real, whether it's Shark or Dyson or any of those really expensive ones. Like I might even spend $200 maybe if they go on sale like at Costco or something. I might even do that, but not until I can figure out how to get my hair to stay. Like I don't know.
I am slowly being influenced the other way. Did you see that on TikTok? Is that where you like?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Because TikTok, again, I think it's the lesbian content. It's a lot of women shaving their heads. And I'm like, should I shave my head? Could I pull that off? I think I have a lumpy head. I think I have one of those heads where you see the ridges and like, not like, but you know where it's like, it's like
a dent.
Yeah, like I think that it's like I've got little like ridges kind of on the side. But I'm also, TikTok is slowly convincing me that I do want to do.
Yeah, I get that.
Matt would care.
Matt wouldn't care.
He doesn't care.
He wouldn't care. But so that's been fun for me this week. Sam you need to shave his head at the same time.
I did it once on accident, and he loved it for a half an hour and then cried.
Yeah.
But Sam's got that what's his name? Sawa, like he's like River Phoenix.
Gotcha.
I can't think of his name. DiCaprio. Yeah. He's got like a 90s mbop thing. He's got a really intense cowlick that gives him that perfect little wave.
Yeah.
So, just waste it on him. So, speaking of TikTok, and I actually listened to the podcast, but I keep seeing the bits, which influenced me to sit down and listen to the podcast. I'm really behind on all my podcasts right now. But I love It or Leave It. He's part of Crooked Media. They do mostly political stuff. But Love It is one of the guys that's like owns the company. And he did a Love It or Leave It. He's doing this thing where he's interviewing reality TV stars. And then he's kind of taking that interview and weaving it into like the greater political discussion of our country and like kind of like why are things the way that they are. And
Okay.
he had Bronwyn Newport on.
Well, I think I
And
saw. No, I think I saw that.
let's see if I can. This one?
Yes, I did
Yeah.
see that. Yes.
I thought it was fascinating. I haven't finished the whole thing, but I loved it. I think she was really good on it. I think it was interesting to hear kind of where she's coming from as far as she wants to be friends with everyone, but also she doesn't want to care what the audience thinks, but also she definitely cares what the audience thinks. I think I know that I'm a Bronwyn stan. I love her. I know you're not her biggest fan. I just think she's coming through as very genuine, and I think she comes through as like she's like, listen, I'm not on good terms with Lisa, and there's just as much of that that's on me as it is her. Like, it's me. I'm not saying it's all her fault. Like, I feel like she goes out of her way to take responsibility kind of for how she messed up. And one of the things that I did want to talk about is she said she was explaining it in the podcast before it had actually aired. But she said that Whitney had told her something about Meredith. And then she basically called Meredith and was like, hey, you're my friend. This is being said about you. I think you should know. And she's like, and I think that in a regular friendship, that would be the correct thing to do. I don't want to look like I'm talking shit behind her back. And she's like, but in reality TV friendships, that's not actually how that goes. And I could have dealt with that a lot better. And I think that's an interesting distinction that she was making that I guess I don't really give a lot of credence to normally. But it is like, what would work in normal friendships doesn't work in the reality TV world of friendships. Because I still think, in my mind, I think she handled that the way that she was supposed to handle it, which is, I heard something crazy about you. So I went to somebody who was actually there and they were giving me their perspective. I let you know what's going on about you. I'm not talking shit behind your back. I'm just being open. And then Whitney's like, that was a conversation we had in confidence. It's like, no,
Yeah.
it wasn't, Whitney. You know what I mean? It's fun. It's worth listening to. And all of Crooked Media is really good. They do a few podcasts a week that are politically minded, but then they also do one called Terminally Online, which is hilarious. It's about how online people are in the rabbit holes that you go down, and then it's like, who is worse going down rabbit holes on the internet. I think you would actually be more terminally on because you end up researching like the true crime stuff. You like go in and you find out stuff about people.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm like, ooh, squirrel, and then I lose it.
Right.
All right, so let's jump into the Mother's Day episode of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and they're in Greece. So they're all wishing each other happy Mother's Day. They're all waking up. Bronwyn had set up this like spreadsheet where she put up the friendship commandments that they had made at her citizenship party, the spill the tea party, and then their names. And then it was kind of like she explained it as the opposite of a sticker chart. Like you didn't want to get red marks, but if you get a red mark if you break one of the commandments. And if you have the least broken commandments, then you get a prize at the end. How do you feel about that?
I feel like it's very Bronwyn. She did explain it, right? We all act like kindergartners, so I'm going to treat them like kindergartners. You know, a demonstrative tool is never a bad idea, I suppose, where, you know, people claim, I never did that, I never said that, you did, you did, you did. Now we have a chart or a poster that has red checks all the way through Heather or all the way through Whitney, right? I don't know. I mean, it's Bronwyn's trying to be cute and funny, and I guess
I think she's trying to lighten things. And I feel like overall, this episode was one of the lighter episodes we've had.
Yeah.
The women actually having fun together, also not having fun together. It was more fun. Like, it's how I want to see a girls' trip go when they were all hanging out at the pool. I want to see Ramona Singer. I don't want to see Ramona Singer ever again, but I want to see like Turtle Time. I want to see, and I'm calling back to like classic New York, where like the OGs, Luann is wasted and falling into the bushes, but they're all having a great time. You know, I like seeing, you know, the Vicky Gundelson, woohoo! Like, why are you doing that? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what's going on? I want to see there being like an actual friendship behind it. Like, if they're going to have all these fights, prove to me that you're friends.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Todd is right. And I don't want Todd, Bronwyn's husband, to be right. Like, why are these women spending time together if they all can't stand each other? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Brittany had kind of, she was like, oh, it is Mother's Day. Fucking Brittany. Again, just prefacing, everyone knows this. I hate Brittany, and she does nothing but make me hate her more this entire episode.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Just, I can't fucking stand her. And then they're all talking about how they're having Mother's Day without their kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Heather said that this is her first Mother's Day that she has been away from her children ever, which makes sense. That totally makes sense. But she also thinks that it's the best Mother's Day ever. She's like, yeah, 100% I want to be.
Right, because she was the mother and
Greece.
father for, 20 plus years for her kids, which is everything. You don't get a day off.
No.
So.
Well, and she literally didn't also because her husband never had an overnight with his kids.
Yeah.
Which is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
They don't talk about it really on the show, like what the girl's perspective is on their dad. Like, it seems like loving, and it seems like, I don't think Heather ever talked shit about their dad to them, which I think is the healthy, correct thing to do. But also, if you're a kid and you're like, I never go to my dad's house ever, there's enough kids that are growing up with their other friends who also have divorced parents, like, oh, it's my dad's weekend. I grew up with divorced parents. My parents were like 1 or 2 when I got divorced. I just assumed that everyone had different weekends with their parents. Like, it wasn't until I was like in 1st or 2nd grade that I was like, people don't switch houses. Some people stay in the same house all the time. I remember that being like a little bit surprising to me. So yeah, it makes sense. I'm going to be honest. I am married to my husband. My husband, super active partner, probably more active in the he has the mental load is greater on him than on me. I still would rather be in Greece with my friends on Mother's Day than home.
Well, yeah, 100%.
Or just like in a hotel room by myself. Like,
yeah, 100%.
I want no one to talk to me.
Do you know what my husband says on Mother's Day? You're not my mother, so I'm not going to do or say anything for you. Great. Thank you. That's so kind and loving. No. My vote is no. So I'd rather be at the Super 8 downtown by myself with the druggies, possibly, instead of in my own house where my spouse goes, you're not my mother. Why? What are we doing for Mother's Day?
That is in general the correct or incorrect answer. Not correct. No, thank you. So they're all sitting by the pool, and then they're all kind of deciding they're going to go do these excursions. Meredith is in a bad mood. She's not really into it because she got attacked all last night.
Yep.
So Angie has set up 2 different things. One is a donkey ride.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is a Greek cooking class. I would have loved to do either one of these things. Mm-hmm. Both of these things seem really fun to me.
Yeah.
Angie set up Lisa, Bronwyn, and Mary for the donkey rides. Mary, not into it. Mary was not excited to do that.
Are you surprised that Mary's not into it?
I was a little surprised.
Stop.
To be totally honest, she has a really ugly dog, so I thought that she'd like a big animal. He's so ugly, he's cute, but he's like he's a purposely ugly dog.
And why is Lisa the only one out of that group wearing pants to ride this animal? All the other women had dresses or skirts on. What are you doing? What are you doing? You know you're going to go ride a donkey. This is not the 1800s where you're required to ride.
Angie was dressed like a Greek goddess, and her dress is like flowing over the back of the donkey. And I was like, I wouldn't want that dress to touch the back of my legs if it had been sat on the back of the donkey. Those donkeys looked beautiful. They were all accessoried out. I'm sure they had just had baths. They looked very well taken care of, right? Beautiful donkeys. I'm still not going to rub all over, like a dress, rub all over a donkey butt and then have it touch the back of my legs.
Or my bare legs touching that. No, I just couldn't. I was really upset and disappointed and frustrated going, what are these women wearing? What are you wearing?
Lisa had a great time.
Yes. And she wore
Lisa
pants and a tank top, which is appropriate. Come on.
because I think Lisa does know about horses. And then for the Greek cooking class, we have Heather, Meredith, Whitney, and Brittany, which fucking sucks. I don't know that Angie really set that up. I think that was a producer thing. Of course Meredith is upset. So is they're in their Sprinter van going to this thing, and they're like, how do you feel about the group setup, Meredith? And Meredith's like, yeah, this sucks. Everyone's been mean to me.
Yep.
I don't want to hang out with you guys.
Yep.
And so they start hashing it out in the Sprinter van. It was just uncomfortable. The thing that pops up and becomes an overarching issue within this episode is that it is Mother's Day, and in the middle of them kind of trying to hash this out with Meredith just takes a call, and it's from her son Brooks. Brooks is getting into a flight. They're in different time zones. This is the time he had to call her. But everyone's getting pissy at Meredith for being on the phone, so she has to get off the phone with Brooks, and she's devastated the rest of the day because that was her only chance to talk to her son on Mother's Day. She and Brooks are genuinely very, very, very close. They work together. They're very close. I think that she's more upset about all of these things, but that's just this perfect example of the shit that everyone is giving her. And it's she's going to hold on to that, and that's going to be her kind of keystone thing that she keeps reverting back to, of why she's upset. I think she had every right to be upset.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
So there's also in the Sprinter, I think Lisa was genuinely trying to be helpful. She's jumping in. She's trying to back up Meredith. Meredith is exhausted. I'm really coming around to Meredith's side on all of this. She's really on her side, but they're like, let her speak, let her talk for herself. Whitney is like, why is she upset? It's like, well, Whitney, and Lisa's like, you called her a pill popper and an alcoholic. You're lying. Yeah. She's like, when did I lie? You said this out loud. And she's like, well, let her say it. Come on. Why do we have to do this really minutia back and forth of this? It was just frustrating. So Meredith's in a bad place. They all get off, go their separate ways, and Meredith's just kind of like, you know what, I'm not doing this. And she walks off.
Mm-hmm.
And decides that she's not going to be a part of it. And Whitney, Heather, and Brittany meet the most fun guy ever, Giovanni. So I don't know if he owns the restaurant or what, but he sets them all up. He gets them their wine. He's just chatting with them about everything. I desperately want to go there. I
know.
I just want to go meet him and have him serve me wine and tell me about food and about Crete and about Santorini. And then he has the chef comes in, and then they start making moussaka. Moussaka is my favorite food. If I could eat nothing else for the rest of my life, I would eat moussaka every day of my life. It's so good. The only thing about it is they're getting to put it together themselves, but everything's just they're layering it and then they're going to go cook it. When you're making that yourself, you have to kind of pre-bake or batter and fry the eggplant. You've got to cook the potatoes beforehand, and you cut them into these really thin layers, and then you layer it in, and then you put this great meat mixture in that's got tomatoes and cinnamon and cumin. It's so, so, so good. And veggies. And then you cover it with a bechamel, and then you let it cook. And they're doing little mini crocs. I always do it in a big thing, but they're doing these little mini crocs. I was very excited to see that. And now I'm like, should I make moussaka over the Christmas holidays? I might. But it takes me all fucking day. Hours and hours and hours.
I'm so trashy. I had no idea what it is. I had to give it a goog and look at it because, based on what he's telling me, I have no idea what this is. And they don't show the camera to what we're doing. I had no idea what this bechamel sauce was. I had to look it up. I would eat it. It looks lovely.
Oh, yeah. You would love it.
It kind of reminds me of a shepherd's pie or something like that.
It's like a Greek shepherd's pie.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's kind of in Turkey they have it, and can be kind of a Middle Eastern thing. It's incredible. It's so good. You would love it. But they didn't explain it very well, and I just want everyone to know that it's very hard to make that, and the chef is doing most of it for them. Eventually, Meredith does come back. She's not meant to be walking around in her heels on those streets, and she really doesn't have anywhere else to go. But it's just suck ass. So she goes and she's like, I'm just gonna go and I'm just gonna power through. And she's not gonna get into it with these ladies. But she's clearly upset. And even the Zeus guy, who I think Heather should hook up with, if she can, is like, are you okay? What's going on?
Yeah.
What do you need? Like she is clearly mess and upset and just cannot get over it. And that is pissing Heather the fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brittany sees that and goes, mm-hmm. Well, you didn't get to talk to Brooks today? Imagine me not getting to talk to my kids for 3 years. Brittany can jump off a bridge.
Yeah.
Meredith has a great, very close, maybe even too close, but very close relationship with her son. Brittany didn't have a relationship with her kids because she fucked up because she was being a bad mom.
Yeah, because
she's still
of
being
her,
a bad mom.
Her actions. They are not in the same universe. Not even in the same universe. You can't compare them at all. And once again, she has to be a victim and has to have everybody look at her. And it was gross. It was so gross.
Come on, Brittany. No one, I think even Heather and Whitney were like,
mm-hmm.
That's not really the argument you want to come here
not
with.
What we're doing. No.
I hope she gets ripped apart on that, like, online, because what a ridiculous effing thing to say. Eventually, after the donkey ride, which I thought the donkey ride, I think that would have been so fun, and especially to have Angie being like, this is what my father did. Like, she's reconnecting with her Greek heritage. And she's like, you know, we have Porsches, we have our Range Rovers, whatever. We have all these things. My father had no shoes and was going 10 miles with a donkey that he loaded up to, like, get groceries for his family. I think that was really cool.
Yeah.
Basically, they also, while they're on the talk, on the walk with the donkeys, Mary did not enjoy the donkeys. And then they're all sitting on the donkeys and having a discussion about how they think the cooking class is going. Angie's saying, oh, I set it up and I'm hoping that they can talk it out and move forward, or else this is going to be like a real pain in the ass for the rest of this trip. Lisa, you need to let them work it out. Like, you're jumping in, you're saying something when you don't need to, like, you're actually derailing things and taking the focus away of where it really needs to be. And Lisa says, it's going one ear and out the other, because if I see my friend needs some backup, I'm going to be backing her up.
Yeah.
That's the best friendship that I'm seeing this season.
Yeah. And that could be a difference in real life and reality TV, right? In reality TV, you're not supposed to say too much for your friend, but they also want you to be a friend and stick up for me. I mean, what is Lisa?
Damned if you
right.
don't.
What is Lisa supposed to do?
So Lisa's like, I'm not listening to you. I'm going to be here for my friend. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I mean, baby gorgeous, I don't think you're wrong. So then everyone joins the cooking class and they're all sitting there together. And they're talking about, like, why Meredith is still upset, because nothing has been, they're like, did you talk it out? Did you fix it? And she's like, no, nothing's better.
Yeah.
And it's like no one understands why this
None
has
of
gotten
these
out of control.
Bitches can read the room, especially Heather. Heather looks at Meredith and goes, Meredith, why don't you tell everybody why you're so upset? Meredith, why don't you tell everybody, about your phone call and about Mother's Day? I mean, Heather doesn't need to do that. She doesn't need to point it out. You know what? Everybody has eyeballs. They can see that Meredith is upset. But no, Heather has to make it about her, which none of this is about Heather.
No.
None of it.
No. I think all of this is like, she really tried to be the judge and jury of this thing so hard that then she somehow went so far that she became the victim in it.
Yeah.
In her mind.
Right.
And at this point, there's no defense of, like, why are we still doing this?
Yes.
Why are we still going forward? She's not going to give you the apology that you want. She even says, you didn't deeply apologize to me. Holy fucking shit. Can you imagine if I said, I need you to deeply apologize to me?
Nope. That's
I think it's
problem.
fair to say, like, I don't know that I can move forward unless this gets addressed. Meredith's made it clear. She's not addressing anything beyond what she already has. And she's done.
And how
And
many times has she said, I'm sorry?
so fucking
Meredith
many.
has said, I'm sorry over and over and over again because you don't like her apology. That is a you problem. That is not a
And that's,
Meredith problem.
it's also valid. If you don't like that apology, if that's not good enough for you, then you need to you need to say, I need to make a choice for myself. Boundaries are not about controlling someone else's behavior.
Right.
It's about creating the boundaries that you're comfortable with. And if they are doing something that you said, hey, I'm not comfortable with this. If you can't acknowledge this, I can't participate with you.
Yeah.
Then you have to back off. You don't get to sit there and push her
Nope.
and push her and push her until you get your
Nope.
way. And I
Nope.
feel like, okay, here's my theory on this. I think that Heather grew up in this very restrictive community where a lot of the onus is on women to make everything good and to make everything okay and to be hyper aware of everyone else's needs and be hyper aware of where everyone else's emotions are to try and maintain niceness and goodness and comfort for everyone around them. And I think that Heather is now, what's it called? Deconstructing. She's deconstructing from her faith. And part of that is where you go, I'm not responsible to constantly hold all of this together. And I'm not responsible for everyone else's feelings. And I think that in part of that process, and I'm not a religious person, but I am a people pleaser, and deconstructing myself from that and learning those things, there is a phase that you go through where you become super resentful of everyone because you're like, I've spent so much energy trying to keep everything right for you. I've spent so much energy trying to make sure that you feel comfortable and that you feel right. And no one gives a shit or gives me any credit for the fact that I was doing that. And it also is totally meaningless. And I think that's, and then you continue to work on yourself and figure it out and deconstruct those things. And you go, and it's nobody's fault because we're all part of the system and we're all at different stages of working through the shit. Heather's not to that point yet where she's like, that's not everyone else's fault. It's not my fault. It's not their fault. And I was doing more than I needed to do. Like Heather's still on the like resentment part of it. And it's so obvious that it's coming out at everyone in these sideways ways where she feels like judge and jury, where she feels like she has to stand up for Brittany, even though Brittany is the one that started this whole fucking thing, where she's like, you are in the wrong, so I need to pick sides. You don't have to pick sides. Everyone can be wrong. Everyone can be right. It's okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to figure out where you're at. But I think there's such a clear line for her of like the church, not the church, that she thinks that line exists everywhere in her life. Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense, but I think she's completely ruined this entire season. Heather has completely ruined it. And can I just go back to Brittany is not infallible either because Brittany made a snide comment about Meredith not being there when they're all at the pool eating breakfast. It's so nice here. Everybody's getting along. The air is light.
Do you guys notice how much lighter it is? And someone's not here.
Someone's not here. This is why Meredith yelled at you, you stupid bitch. Like, because you don't know when to stop. But we're supposed to feel sorry for you? Like,
right. Well, now she's at the cool kids table. She thinks she's the cool girl, right? Because they all rallied around her and had the feel better with your high body count hair party.
Yeah.
Like she's too comfortable. Well, I don't care for it. I want everyone to be a little bit uncomfortable all the time because so am I. I just don't care for her. I just don't care for Brittany. But that just it just bugs me the wrong way that Heather is so stuck and so that everyone has to get stuck. And I don't think that's fair.
Yeah.
And it's like everyone's ready to move on, except that you're not going to get what you want from Meredith.
Right.
And if you can't, then you have to leave the show. Because Meredith is not leaving the show.
Yeah.
So I did appreciate, caveat, then more happens. But Whitney then says, listen, I should not have called you a pill popper. I should not have called you an alcoholic. My words were dangerous. It was not fair. It was not cool of me to say that. And I see that it was hurtful and I'm so sorry.
She's a liar.
Well, because then
She's a
it's
liar.
2 seconds later.
That body language when she apologized is very controlling. It's very narcissistic. And she closed her eyes for a really long time when she was like, I shouldn't have said that. That body language, she's a liar. That is not contrition. Not contrition at all. When she said it in her segment interview afterwards, what she said afterwards in her horrible makeup and her boobs, she should have said that statement to Meredith, not this fake ass, not real lie, basically.
It really sucked. I was like, see, I didn't pick up on the body language. I'm gullible. I watched it and I went, that's a good apology. And then immediately after they show that, I forgot what it's called, the breakaway interview, whatever.
Yeah.
And she's like
confessional or something.
I'm still worried for my friend. And you're like,
no, you're not.
You're insinuating that you think that she's doing all these bad things.
Exactly.
You're not really worried. You're trying to make her look bad. And that sucks. I wish I think Whitney is in the same thing that Heather is in, where they're on their healing journey and they haven't quite tapped into the fact that, like, okay, you're more self-aware now. That doesn't mean that you understand everyone and that you get to pass that judgment.
If someone were to call Whitney a pill popper and a drunk, which is probably what she is based on everybody on the online saying how horrible she was at BravoCon and how she's constantly drunk, if someone were to say that to her on the show to her face, she would lose it. It would be absolutely inappropriate.
Sure.
You can't do that to me. Mm-hmm. That's not how this works. And she would never talk to that person again. But it's a double standard, and she can do it to Meredith and just throw it around like it's nothing and then give this BS apology to her. I think it's garbage. Whitney is garbage.
In the moment, I think it did what it needed to do, which was kind of shake out some sort of like, let's move forward. Because it did kind of relax everyone just enough so they, on the Sprinter van home, they're talking about 10-1-2 showers.
Yeah.
I still don't totally understand. I mean, I understand that number 1 means peeing and number 2 means pooping. I get that. But I don't understand what it means about that with a shower.
What does the 10 mean?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't understand it.
I still don't understand what that meant. But they were talking about pooping and peeing and taking breaks and things like that, which is great. And it got lighter. And then they have the pool party. Meredith comes out in like kind of like a little Chanel blazer skirt bralette situation. And they're all teasing her and they're like, get into your swimsuit. And then she pulls her skirt off. It's a swimsuit. It was great. Very cute. They all lighten up. They're having pool swim races. Whitney and Meredith are getting along. They're all, eating. Mary's concerned that the shrimp that she got wasn't dewormed. She still ate it.
The huge shrimp, too. Huge. Did you see how big that thing was? Yeah.
Yeah. Gigantic. I love a temp portion.
I just gave it a goog on this 10-1-2. It says, the slang terms 10-1 and 10-2 are production codes originating from CB radio terminology, widely used on film and TV sets. The number 10-1-2 is a combination of these codes, typically used as an inside joke to complete a bathroom break. So I guess that people just know this in their headsets when they're filming or doing something. But I don't know. It doesn't say what the 10 refers to. It's very weird.
Well, I don't know what it has to do with the shower, but it lightened everybody up.
Mm-hmm.
They love bathroom humor, these ladies. Then they start talking about, I don't remember exactly how it came up, but they start talking about Bronwyn and if she had ever kissed a girl. And Bronwyn's like, yes, I've kissed a girl. And then they're like, well, have you done anything else? And she's like, yeah, definitely done more with a girl than any of you guys. And they're like, what have you done? Oh my God, Bronwyn.
Yeah.
And then Bronwyn is like, oh God, Todd's not going to like this.
Here we go.
So
again.
Then she's like, Heather, they're asking if I've ever kissed a girl. Heather, a little drunk, not really paying attention, just walks over and gives her like a little kiss.
Whitney does. Whitney, yeah.
Whitney. What did I say?
You said Heather.
Well, Heather would probably too. But
Yeah.
no, but it was Whitney. So the Whitney Bronwyn feed that I am getting on my TikTok is like they're just putting compilations of the two of them to like music, and they're being like shipped as a couple. And I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I think it's quite cute, actually.
Well,
And I
don't you
can see it
remember
happening.
at their conversation at the restaurant when Whitney's like, yeah, when we have one of those parties, I'll invite you over?
Mm-hmm.
Like, of course, they probably talked about it before, obviously. And we don't know if she's actually showed up to one of them or not.
Well, I think Whitney's not having that party until their kids move out. Or they're at grandma's. I don't know. But I like it. And then Brittany's like, I've never kissed a woman, but I've kissed hundreds of men.
Gross. First of all, I think it's a lie. Second, if it's true, it's gross. And what's that number? 367.
67.
What is that?
She has a spreadsheet. She started it in college.
That's gross. What is wrong with you?
I remember one of my favorite movies is Reality Bites, and Janine Garofalo's character has like the list of all the men, and she's like trying to remember what the guy's name is as he's leaving.
Yeah.
So she could write it in her notebook. But that's a character in a movie. You're not supposed to actually do that. Mm. And also, Brittany's older than I am, so she probably didn't get that from the movie. Who's doing that?
Yeah.
And
Who's
if
doing
you
that
have
with her? Ugh.
Well, I mean, if they're just kissing, I'm sure lots of men would. Why not? I would. No. Maybe I would. I don't know. It's a weird group. I don't know. But they're having fun. One of the other things that pops up is what is the worst rule that you ever broke? And then the only one that tells a story is Meredith. And Meredith tells a really boring story about how she threw a party when her parents were out of town and they broke a dish.
Yeah.
And she's like, I hope my mother doesn't find out. What are you talking about, Meredith?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the worst thing that you ever did that your parents never found?
Well, I don't. It's not something that I like physically did, but I was, I guess, participating is not the right word. That's not the right word. Then we lived in Southeast Boise, and the neighbor across the street, she was my best friend. She was 1 year older than I was. So let's see. Yeah, I was 14. She was 15. And both of my parents work full time. Her parents, I think they work full time too. So our parents were gone a lot. And I was very strict Mormon household. No boys coming over. My girlfriend can come over, but that was it. And my girlfriend across the street was having sex. She started having sex at this time. And I was shocked. I was 14. She was 15. And I was stunned. I was like, I can't believe you're doing this. And she's like, why? It's so nice. It's so fun. And was trying to talk me into it all the time with guys that I liked at school. Just have sex. Just have sex. Just, give them a blowjob. They'll do it back to you. And all of these sex talks. And
bad friend.
Yes, I one time snuck out of the house. I wasn't supposed to leave. I snuck out of the house. I went to her house. She snuck out, and we went to her boyfriend's house, which was in a trailer park over the railroad tracks from our house. So it was, less than a 2-minute walk. It was very close. And he was in his 20s. And I went to the trailer with her, stood outside and watched that his dad didn't come home, and they had sex inside the trailer. And then she came out and we both came home. I ended up doing that for her quite a bit. But I was terrified of doing any sort of sexual activity with any boy other than kissing at all. But she was all for it, constantly saying, just, it's fine. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. So yeah. But like, I don't know. I didn't really do anything. I was too scared as a kid, but I would hang out with her.
I feel like everything I did, I got caught. And then I got in trouble for stuff that I didn't even really do.
Yeah.
But I was fooling around with boys, but I didn't do anything like crazy. I'd sneak out. We used to do this thing. This is not exciting. This is a Meredith Mark story. we used to do this thing. This is before I had like boyfriends and stuff. We would do this thing called manhunt, where me, my brother Trey, who was 5 years younger than me, and other friends in the neighborhood. So I was like towards the oldest. Trey was probably towards the youngest, but a couple of his friends, some of my friends, and then kids in between. We would all sneak out during the summer. It would hit like midnight, and we would all, no one had cell phones or anything yet. We would sneak out. We would meet at this big electrical box, and we would play this game called Manhunt, which was something between freeze tag and what's the one with the flags?
Oh God, it's right on the tip of my tongue. I know what you're talking about anyway.
Yeah. But like it was like this, but we would play across several neighborhoods at like midnight, and we were running all over the place. My mom worked some job that like she had to get super up super early in the morning for it, like 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning, something crazy. So those hours she was not going to wake up, so we would sneak out the back door, and we would go do that for like 2 hours, and there were probably like 20 kids that got in on that. It was awesome. I don't know that you could do that nowadays. The kids could do it in this neighborhood, but everyone has Ring cameras. Back in the day, no one had a Ring camera.
No.
No one had a camera for any of that.
No,
we were in
no.
people's backyards. It wasn't, not fenced yards, but it was like townhome neighborhoods. It was so fun. I miss that. But yeah, no, you couldn't get away.
But Meredith broke a dish, so.
But Meredith broke a dish. Oh, okay. So after I had already moved out, but Dad and Des went out of town, I think, to like go to the beach, and everyone else went. I couldn't get off work. I had an actual job at the time, but I couldn't get off work, so they took everybody else to the beach. And I was like, "Oh, I'll check on the house for you," and they're like, "Okay." So what I was gonna do was like have a party at their house because they had a great basement and a hot tub and a really nice back deck. And I was like, "This is gonna be so cool. I'm gonna have these friends that are like we're all 19 and 20 and we're gonna drink and it's gonna be great." And I got like 2 people over. There were more people on their way. And I was like, everyone take off your shoes. And I'm suddenly paranoid. I was like, their house is really nice. Their house is really clean. Didn't fucking do anything. And then I realized that like suddenly there's like alarms going off.
Oh God.
And there's like pounding on the door.
Oh,
and
God.
I go upstairs and there's people outside that are my friends. And there's also the fire department. The house next to theirs, and it's a townhome. My parents had an end unit. The unit right next to theirs caught on fire. Somebody had like a hot plate catch on fire, and it like burned that house, and all of the soot and everything came into it. So then also I have to like let the fire department in, and they're going in and out and in and out, and they're like taking these like black footprints all over their white carpet, and it was like cream colored carpets, but like everywhere. The whole place smelled like smoke. All the smoke was coming in, and I'm like, "Hey guys, party's canceled," which is probably for the best. So like I still didn't get a chance to actually do anything bad, but I'm like, "Hey Dad, Des, I think there's a fire next door. I came by to check on the house and something bad's happening." And they're like, "We're coming home." So it's like I didn't get a chance to actually do anything bad before like God intervened. And I was like, "Stop."
That's amazing.
Oh, yeah, that's the closest thing to being bad. No, it's just kidding. I was bad in other ways.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, thanks. Then they have a club night. Mary skips out. So here, I'm going to be you for a second. Why is it okay that Mary can stay home and Mary cannot participate, but Lisa can't?
Right.
Well, it's because she's Angie's best friend. That's why.
Right.
Some people get special treatment. I feel like I would get away with a lot more than you would let other people, right? Like if I did something, you would be more forgiving of me than if like just like somebody else random did it because you like me better.
Okay, yes, that's where we're going. Yes.
I get more leeway. You get more leeway. I get more leeway. That's what friendship does.
Yeah.
Is there a double standard? Sure, but there's also a hierarchy of friendships. Then they go to the club, and it's gorgeous, of course, and everyone looks great. And then somehow high body count hair pops up, and apparently Brittany has trademarked high body count hair.
Yeah.
And this is deeply pissing off Angie. because that was Angie's line about Brittany. And so Angie's like, how can you trademark something that I said? And Brittany's like, because I thought to trademark it. So I did. And they're like, and then Meredith and Bronwyn get together and they make a joke about how they're going to have ting, ting, ting. I don't have an announcement because they're going to make little purses that have a secret flask in them.
Yeah.
Because it's a secret.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a fun way to poke fun at it. But then this just kept going. Angie needs to lighten up, I think. I also think it's super dumb that Brittany trademarked high body count hair. Because the real source of that, I think, is like bro-y, manosphere, incel culture.
Yes, it is.
So maybe Angie, shut up. You don't connect yourself to this.
No, I get that. But did you see Meredith on Watch What Happens Live?
No, I missed it.
So there was a little clip where Andy asked Meredith, what do you think about the trademark? And Angie being upset. And Meredith said, look, there is an unspoken rule that whoever says it, it's theirs. Like, that's how we all function. Whoever says it, it's theirs. And I got to thinking about that because I think Brittany is ridiculous for trademarking it and ridiculous for poking Angie. But if you think about it like this, what if Monica trademarked receipts, proof, timeline? That's ridiculous, right?
Mm-hmm.
Heather said it. It's Heather's. It's about Monica.
Mm-hmm.
But if Monica trademarked it, it would make Monica look stupid.
Well, Brittany looks so fucking dumb.
Brittany looks stupid. Like, I think Angie has the right to be upset about it and annoyed by her. But Brittany, again, cannot read the fucking room and just sits and pokes at her and pokes at her. And I don't agree with it at all. But that, when I thought about it in the terms of Monica and Heather, I got even more angry. And plus, Meredith said, there's an unspoken written rule here. Whoever says it, they get it. So
yeah. I mean, I think the logic behind it would just be, like, obviously it's something that Angie said. I think zooming out, I think no one wants to be attached to that. Don't be attached to that.
No, I get that. Yeah.
Don't be attached to it. And also, like, you're trying to explain this to Brittany, who is going to do everything possible to not understand this.
Yeah.
And Brittany doesn't understand that she's not the victim in the situation with her daughters. Like, there is no getting through that thick skull.
Yeah.
She, as Mary would say, she's got the square head.
Yeah.
She's a dingbat.
And then at one point, I had to give this a goog too, because they're in the Sprinter van when it comes up, and Angie says, I think your hair's too long for your age. Bitch, I looked up all their ages.
Okay.
Meredith and Brittany are the same age. They're both 54. Angie is 52. All of those bitches, except Whitney, have long hair. Heather's in her 50s. Mary's in her 50s. Angie, hello, you're in your 50s. You're 2 years younger, but your hair is just as long as Brittany's. I'm not trying to be on Brittany's side.
She was like, no, it's a little bit shorter. And I was like, who? At this point, you all have long hair.
What are you talking about? Because I'm thinking, oh, well, maybe they are. She is younger. No, she's not. But she's telling Brittany to cut her hair. Like, what are you doing? The rest of you have extensions.
Extensions. I feel like they show, you see the pictures where they take the Golden Girls and they put them in long hair.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, they look like 20 years younger.
Yeah.
I mean, other than this shaving my head impulse that I'm fighting, I don't think I'm ever going to have short hair again.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about, like, I think honestly it's that, as you get older, your hair thins. So that's why so many women end up going with short haircuts when they're older, is my assumption. And some people just look better with short hair. But, like, I have a feeling that Gen X and millennials are going to end up having long.
Yeah.
Anyway. And I think that we'll all have, we'll all get extensions put in. Or, like, the weaves. My God, that's the other thing that my TikTok is full of. I love hair pieces. you seen the guys that get like, they have like the toupees that get glued to their head and they last for like 6 weeks?
Yeah.
I love those videos.
And can we talk about how ugly Whitney's outfit was for this stupid club thing?
It was not good.
What are you wearing? Like
a romper.
What is? It was so. Ugh. It was bad.
A wrestling singlet.
Yes.
Kind of vibe.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible. And then she stands up. She's like, "Why can't we just get along? Like, I have high body count hair, clothes, but my hair is what? Shut up and sit down. Like, nobody's talking to you." And Bronwyn was correct. You don't need to make this a group discussion. So sit down and shut up. Like, you're pissing me off.
I think that's the other thing. I think that Whitney and Heather needing it to be a group discussion for every single issue. You didn't need to get involved in every single issue. I think if you're not getting involved to be a mediator, then you need to just shut up.
Yeah.
Because it's just making these conversations last way longer than they need to go. So I'm done.
Ugh.
And also, Love It from Love It or Leave It, the podcast that I talked about at the beginning, he is very much of the feeling that if all of that had really happened, Meredith would have been in more trouble.
Absolutely.
Something would have been done and said. So he aligns completely with you.
Absolutely.
You'll love it.
I agree. I mean, I don't disagree that she said something, but anyway, she's already apologized. We need to just stop. So it's done.
Or if you're not going to get anything else out of her, and if you can't handle that, then you just have to be actually done and disengage. So, But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't think that we're going to get, I mean...
There can't be more episodes coming. I mean, more than 1 or 2, I think, because they filmed the reunion. That's got to be coming. So I don't know.
I'm excited about the reunion.
Yeah.
But if anything, okay, so the other thing that's swirling since they taped the reunion, we obviously haven't seen it yet. It hasn't aired, but because the show's not over.
Yeah.
But they are, so we know that Bronwyn and Todd are separated officially.
Yeah.
And you sent me something saying that you think they were actually separated long before this.
Yeah, which would make sense because how they act on screen. I don't know. It just kind of makes sense when you think about it in that kind of way. How annoyed he was with her. I mean, just looking at her, he didn't want to be in the same room with her. I mean, you got the whole Cherrygate thing. Like, it makes sense that they were not
picking at her and trying to make
her. And they were not together.
I think that that's plausible.
Sure.
I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
But then the other controversy of that is people are saying they think Lisa leaked it.
Sure.
Because immediately after it came out, she was posting videos of her and John being like, look, our marriage is great.
Yeah.
I think that there's like, part of me is like, I genuinely do think Lisa has been the victim of circumstance in a lot of this.
Yeah.
I also think that it's like, there's a lot of coincidences that really make her look awful over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But also, she's never going to cop to any of it. So just like Meredith, if this is a thing, we just have to choose to move forward.
Yeah.
Baby Gorgeous is going to leak shit. That's just how it's going to go.
Yeah. And Meredith even confirmed on Watch What Happens Live with Andy. She said, we did talk about Bronwyn and Todd's divorce at the reunion at length. And Andy said, yes, we did for a really long time. I mean, if you think about other internet sources like Dumois and that Steve something, I can't remember him. Like, those guys are like insiders to these shows that leak a lot of stuff. So I don't know. I don't necessarily believe it was Lisa either, but
I think that there's a lot of people
sure
at this point. But I think it was just bad timing to post.
Yeah.
Just the second after it happened.
No, I get it.
Oh, come on.
I get it.
But also, I love Baby Gorgeous. she's ridiculous. There was a guy that was doing a thing about like how there's kind of a formula that is why this works so well. And he was comparing Salt Lake to OG New York.
Okay.
And he said that like the Countess and Meredith are the same person.
Okay.
He said that Whitney is the dingbat, sexy Sonia Morgan, which I thought was funny. He said that Ramona Singer he said Lisa was Bethany Frankel. They're two
Okay.
Very
I can see that.
insistent that they are successful business women
Yeah.
who will not, whose image is really, really important, and they are willing to fight you for it.
Yeah.
And I thought that that was actually, there's differences, obviously, but I
Yeah.
think there was a very clear.
No, I get that.
Yeah, there's parallels there that I
I
think
can
are
see that.
interesting. It's a formula that's working. So, all right, now we're ready for true crime story time.
True crime story time. Whispers in the dark. Truth leaves a mark. True crime story time.
True crime story time. And I'm a little sad about this one because I really wanted Steve to watch it. We never got the chance because it has to do with plumbing and drainage and something in a drain that I'm trying to picture how that would work because it's absolutely horrific. So I wanted him to see it and give me a little bit more of an insider take so I could talk about that. Maybe I'll talk to him this week and give you an update next week. But yeah. So I'm a little sad he didn't get to watch it. But this is another Interrogation Raw. This is another quick, less than 45-minute true crime. It's on Hulu. This is still season 1, but this is episode 11. And it's called Something's in the Water. And it starts out just like they all do with a 911 call where it says, you know, this is a plumber. I'm on a job site and we've pulled 10 to 15 pounds of what looks like flesh, some sort of meaty substance out of this drain. And we need someone to come down here. And I immediately was like, what are you talking about? I'm just trying to figure out how they pull out 10 to 15 pounds of flesh out of a drain and what that would look like. Like, is it, I just don't understand.
I mean, I think in general seems, I mean, pulling anything out of a drain is disgusting.
Of course.
Like, you just, like, we both have
Of course. Yeah.
Gross.
And it's
no, thank you.
Yucky.
So these guys, when they look at that and they go, this is what
human
I'm
flesh. Yeah.
Where's the point? Because it's like people put weird stuff down.
Yeah.
There was like a landlord that was doing a series of videos about how this one woman kept putting rice, like dry rice,
Okay.
uncooked rice, down the garbage disposal and down the sink to like fuck up the plumbing to like,
oh my God. Okay.
not have to pay rent.
Okay.
Is what it ended up working out to be.
Okay.
So it's like, I know that there's weird stuff that people are putting down their drains and I mean, I'm a pastry chef, but like we'd have to be really careful because if you put too much butter down the drains, it can fuck up all of your drains. Just the butter going down it is really, so buttercreams and things like that, really you have to be careful about. And like acrylic paint is another one. So I'm sure these guys see crazy stuff that has been shoved down the drain in huge amounts all the time. What is the, okay, so it's 10 to 15 pounds. It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that makes him go, this, I think I need police? Like that,
Yes.
they don't really ever explain that. And that is the part that I think is kind of, for me, among other things in this, the whole thing is unsettling, but that specific note of like, if you're a plumber and you go, we need to call the cops. This is so bad, we need to call the cops.
Yes, just absolutely shocking. Then they cut over to a hospital surveillance video of these 3 females walking in the entrance of like an emergency room. There's 2 young teenage girls and then a mom is what it looks like. And it tells us that one of the females is named Rory and she was with a friend. And Rory seemed to be having some sort of mental issue. So the friend's mom decided to take Rory to the hospital and go to the emergency room. They're both, all 3 are walking in fine. They seem to have a fine demeanor. There's nothing outwardly going on, right? She's not crying or fighting or physical or anything. They just walk in and sit down in the waiting room. And we find out that Rory's 18 years old. And then they say after a few minutes, the friend and the mom get up and leave the hospital. They leave the on surveillance video walking out of the hospital and they leave Rory there alone. Just so many questions with that. I'm
Yeah.
not quite sure what's happening. I personally don't have someone in my family that's living in my household that has any sort of mental health breakdown. So I don't know what that would look like to take them to the hospital. But she seemed normally, right, outwardly normal, calm, right? And she just sat there. And then they said, after 15 minutes of being in the waiting room alone, Rory just gets up and leaves, walks out of the hospital without being seen by a doctor or a nurse. And that's the last time anybody sees her, has ever seen her again. They don't explain anything about what happens or the connection between the two people. So we don't know, where she goes after to end up being the victim of the story. We find out that on October 1st, Rory's godmother went to her apartment to check on her. A lot of things are going through my mind while I'm watching this, right? She has a godmother. She's at a friend's house. We don't see any sort of parents, which is fine. I mean, I'm not saying trying to shame anything, but maybe she, her parents are not in the picture, or her parents don't live near her or something, but she has an adult female that is her godmother that goes to check on her for some reason. And she goes into her apartment, and her apartment looks like she hasn't been there in a few days. So her godmother is upset and reports Rory missing, and does the flyers, the missing person flyers around town. I forgot to mention this takes place in Oshawa, Canada. And it was fascinating. There was one aspect of this show that Canada and the United States differ quite hugely. And I'll get into that when we come to it, but it was quite fascinating. So they're in Canada, and the police say, Rory's friends and family create a website for Rory missing, and people are going on the website, right, and posting what their theories are, or the last time they saw her, or what they think it could be, where she could be. And they tell us, she's obviously somewhat troubled, but she's a good kid and was active in sports and things like that. So she did mention that the police mentioned that Rory told her family and friends that she was pregnant. But nobody knows if that was real or not. And in the video, right, she doesn't look like 9 months pregnant or anything, but she could be pregnant and just not showing. But that is something that they believe, that they know about her, that she's pregnant right now. So a few more days go by, about almost 2 weeks go by, and the police get a call from a fisherman out at a pier where they think that they have pulled in or caught on their hooks like a turkey carcass, which I would think would be, I guess, like, I don't know if what it would be like, maybe a frozen turkey or something. I don't know what a turkey carcass means, but it's in a smallish sort of area anyway. But when they reel it in, they find out that it is a female human torso. So no arms, no legs, no head. Obviously, they call the police. So the police get there and they confirm, yes, this is a female torso. And when they're examining the torso, right, the police are saying to themselves, okay, this has to be, this wasn't an accident. I don't know how an accident would happen with just your torso ending up being taken from your body. But they say, this person had to have had a medical background, a butcher or a hunter, or someone that was really good with knives, based on what the torso looked like. They searched the marine harbor, and they can't find any other body parts in the water. I don't know if that's good or bad, but they don't find anything else in the water. So the police are saying the torso has no identifying marks, no scars, no tattoos, no nothing from surgery that would lend them to say who she is. But you put two and two together, right? You have a missing teenage girl. This is a torso of a teenage girl just found. The family's like, this is her. We know it's her. But the godmother, I guess, provides the police to do some DNA testing with some of Rory's clothes. She gets a hold with Rory's biological father, and he submits to a DNA swab, right, to match the DNA on this torso. And they say, it takes a month to get these results back, but the results come back that it is Rory. The torso is hers. And now the police say, we feel like, there's a lot of pressure to find the rest of her, from the community, because I guess this town's kind of small. And the police say, look, this happened in... she went missing at the end of August. September, we find her torso, but we don't have any suspects in September, in October, in November. But in December is when we get this 911 call from these plumbers. And like I said, the plumber is calling saying, we just pulled out human flesh from this drain. And the police show up, they say within minutes of this 911 call, and they talk to the couple who hired the plumber. And the couple says, look, our drains are backing up into our tubs and our sinks. And we had mentioned to our neighbor about it, the downstairs neighbor, and he said, no, I'll just snake the drain. I'll figure it out. Don't call a plumber. And they said, then it started to smell really bad. Ugh, yeah. And so they said, fuck this. We're calling a plumber. We're trying to figure out what's going on. Plumber comes. Yeah. And the couple upstairs in this, I guess it's a duplex. It looks like a house from the front of the street.
Yeah. And I guess there's stairs up the side, or maybe he was in a basement apartment.
Yeah, you couldn't really tell except if you go around the back of the house that there's a basement apartment. But from the front of the house, it just looks like a one single resident living house. But so the couple says, we have this person living in the basement, and that's who we talk to. And so the police knock on this guy's door, and he lets him in. And the police say that the gentleman who lets them into the downstairs basement apartment says, I guess the jig is up. It's a body. You found a body. What? I mean, how many of these have we watched or talked about where nobody immediately says, yeah, that's a body over there, or you got me, or this. Yeah. Until we find out later from him what happens, I can't picture what he's placing in the drain, right? If it's bone and if it's flesh. I had such a hard time trying to figure out the logistics of this and why you would think a drain would be the place to go and not a garbage disposal. I don't know. I know that sounds horrible. I don't know. Right?
Yeah, no, it didn't. His logic of putting pieces of meat down the drain.
I don't know. I kept trying to think, okay, right, I cook, I prepare food. I've held raw meat, right? Chicken, turkey, hamburger, right? I'm trying to think of a chicken cutlet maybe would be the closest to it. I don't know of what they would be finding. No, it's too big.
But so how quickly everything has to start moving, I guess probably maybe has something to do with it, but it doesn't, the whole thing does not make a lot of sense.
No, anyway. So they show us a booking photo of the gentleman who lives downstairs. His name is Adam Strong, and he is very scary. He's 45 years old. He's a heavy-set man, long, stringy black hair, greasy, not very well-kept person.
He is exactly who you go,
what? Stay away from him.
He's the personification of that guy is a creep and gross.
Yeah. So they take him into custody, and the police say while he's waiting in the patrol car, he says to them, if you want the rest of her, she's in my freezer, for God's sake. And, they show a picture of this man's freezer. It is a huge freezer, and obviously it's all dirty and stained and everything. And they open the freezer, and there are these, I don't even know, packages that are wrapped up, these things inside the freezer.
Plastic wrap.
Yeah, plastic wrap, big balls of something, and he says, she's in the freezer. They tell us that Rory had one distinct tattoo, and it was on her neck, and it was the word alive, which I don't just anyway. So they do find her head in Adam's freezer. They confirm it's her because of the tattoo on her neck. And so that's how they know that they have found the rest of her. But they tell us the police, they don't have enough to charge him with quote unquote murder. They can charge him with what's called indignity to a body, chopping up a body, dismembering a body, because he admits to that, and they have the body. In Idaho, we call that mayhem, I believe, here, not indignity to a body. So they can charge him with indignity to a body, and they bring him in for these. Now we start with these interrogation videos, which is what this kind of show is about. And he is not nervous at all. At all. You would have thought you're talking to three dudes in a bar about a sports game or what they like to eat or what the weather is outside. Like, he was not nervous at all.
Mm-mm.
And so they're talking to him, and they're trying to get him, right, to admit that he knows Rory or who she is, right? And he declines to answer. So they'll say things like, is Rory Hash in your freezer? Is that who is in your freezer? And he'll say, I decline to answer that question. And here's the thing that's different between the United States and Canada. In Canada, they tell us that when you have an attorney and you have the right to an attorney, your attorney is not allowed in the room with you when you're being interviewed or interrogated, and your attorney does not have the right to conclude the interview. You don't have the right to stop the interview. Once the interview starts, regardless of whether you have an attorney, it has to keep going until the police say it's over. That is shocking to me, because we don't do that here in the United States.
Well, what I did kind of follow up a little bit on this. What I thought was really, and they talk about it later on in the episode, what I thought was interesting is because, and it's like, how is that allowed? Right. Like, we will watch SVU. Stabler would be freaking out on them. Right. Like, you have to answer. And the thing is that these are recorded the entire time, and then the judge reviews them, and they're looking, and the lawyer will end up looking at it. Everyone looks at it, and they look at these interviews, and any chance that you break any of the rules around how you do it, like, yes, I think the one that came up for this one was like, are you tired? Like, if he's tired, if he's overtired, yes, or if he hasn't eaten, is he being coerced into this? Yes. Like, and it's like, there are so many ways that you can get tripped up, that you can, if you say the wrong thing, if you say it in the wrong way, you can get everything thrown out. Yeah. So, like, it seems like they have this major leg up by not having to have a lawyer there. Yeah. That's how I interpreted it. And then it's like, oh no, it's because the standards that they have to meet in these interviews are so high. Yes. And they have to be so perfect. It was so fascinating to me. Totally fascinating. And the other thing is another thing that we do, but we don't do here. So they have, in 24 hours from the time that you're charged and arrested, you have what's called a bail hearing, which is what we have too. We call it an arraignment, but they have a bail hearing where the judge advises you of why you're in custody, and then the judge will set a bail amount. So you can either bond out, or if you don't, you stay in jail, or the judge says this isn't bailable, you're not going anywhere. But the police have 24 hours, that's it, to talk to him. And they can never talk to him again. But he can call his attorney, and his attorney can say, do or don't do this or say this, right? So Adam did get a chance to call his attorney. His attorney said, don't say anything. You need to clam up. Don't say anything. So Adam does say that. He says, I was fully intending on telling you everything, but my attorney said no, so I'm not telling you anything anymore. But That part pissed me off so much because he was like, I wanted to tell you.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
still not to, so I'm not going to. Somebody told me
Yeah.
not to. Sorry. Very Canadian. Sorry.
Right. Right. Adam is so weird in these interviews because he will say things like, I heard these can go on for hours. And they're like, yeah. Or he'll stop and say, I need some more water. Or can I sit in that table? Or do people really need these tissues? Like, he was so strange in this interview. Like, they couldn't even figure out what was going on with him. I mean, they knew he was a narcissist, right? But they're trying to, get to his emotional human side by saying, we've been talking to this family since September. This family really wants to know what happened to their daughter, and they're really emotional and they are really upset about it. And he's like, like nothing.
Nothing.
There's nothing. It doesn't register to him at all. So they're like, okay, we can't try that. That tactic isn't working. So then Adam at one point says, I got a lot of movies from the library that I need to return. Because they ask him, what are you thinking about right now? He's like, well, scuba diving. I'd like to go scuba diving. And I have a lot of movies I need to return. Just what is happening in this room? So the police are like, yeah, that's not a big issue for us right now. We're not going to worry about your movie
You're
rentals.
in trouble about the library late fees, not about the body that you told them where it is in your house.
Yeah, so they put pictures out of Rory on the table, and he says, you can take those away. And they're like, nope, those are going to stay there. And he said, okay, well, I'm not going to look at it anymore. And they said, fine, you don't have to look at it, but she's going to stay right there, which I thought was good. Anytime they made him uncomfortable or really were direct with him, he either changed the subject or, was kind of combative, I guess, with them. They do get him food. Again, they buy him food. They all eat together, right? In the thought that if everybody's sitting around kind of comfortable having something to eat, maybe he'll say something. Obviously, he doesn't. They ask him if he's a big gun guy, and he's like, no, I'm not into guns. They say, are you into knives? He's like, yeah, I've got a collection of some knives at the house. I do like a good knife, quote unquote, a good knife. I don't know what that means. But then they show him a picture of a knife that they found in the house. I had to Google it because they said this is a specific knife for hunters.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote it down. It's a specific knife. It was a small knife, and it had this kind of curved blade at the end, and it had two metal holes in it for you to grip it. Like your finger and your thumb would go in there, or your forefinger and your middle finger would go in there. But it's like a handheld knife. It's a small knife, but it's very scary looking. And it
had like a hook thing on it.
Yeah, it had a hook on the
and
end.
Like an angled knife thing.
Yeah.
Oh
my gosh, where did I
for
have it down there?
For hunters, to skin and clean their kills. So
yes,
you've got to get the guts out before you pull it back to your trap.
Yeah. And so they find the knife, and the knife has blood on it, and it has human tissue, right, flesh on it. They also show him a picture from inside his apartment that they took of handcuffs that were hanging from a hook from the ceiling, in a door frame going into a room. And they said, what the heck is this about? And he was like, oh yeah, my ex loved that room. I mean, it so gagged me. It made me sick. The
pictures from his apartment.
It made me sick.
It was something between a horror movie and an episode of Hoarders.
Oh my God. Yes.
It was disgusting.
It was terrible.
One of the guys said that it was one of the worst places he'd ever been inside just because of the filth. Ashtrays overflowing.
Yep.
There was a fish tank that was just filled with old pizza boxes.
I think so. Garbage or something.
Garbage, and it was nothing ever got put away. There was barely anywhere to walk. Everything was covered with grime and stains, and
it was so bad.
It was so disgusting.
They also found a lot of sex toys in
Just
this
hanging
house.
out.
Just hanging
Just
out. Dildos, anal
Butt
beads,
plugs all over
butt
the place.
plugs,
Right.
more handcuffs. I think I inferred that they had found so many sex toys, they had to put it in a box labeled sex toys.
They had multiple boxes of evidence that were just like big cardboard boxes that were like,
Yes.
this is sex toy box number 4.
Yeah.
And there's nothing about this man that you go like, I want to see him naked, or I bet he's good at stuff.
No.
He's so gross. He's so gross.
No. They also tell us that his house was so bad that they had to apply for a 30-day extension on the search warrant, another month to go through this man's house, and they dug up the yard. I mean, that is incredible to me, to have to ask for a 30-day extension to be able to go through all of his shit, because there's so much stuff in there. And like you said before, they interviewed some people about his background. Like, he did not have any sort of a police, like, criminal history that they could find. You know, the man hadn't worked in years, or when he did work, he went from job to job to job. Like, he couldn't keep a job. Friends that were men in his life would say, he's the best guy around. Like, he'd give the shirt off of his back to you. You could stay at his house if you didn't have a place to live. Like, he's the best guy on the planet. He's just what you would want in a friend. And they would interview women about this man, and women would say he's sexually sadistic and he's violent and he's a horrible, horrible person. That is incredible to me. The two differences that I don't.
I mean, and the people that they had interviewing, he was only interviewed by men.
Yeah.
And part of me kind of wonders what the dynamic. I mean,
yeah.
I think.
No, I get that.
I think they didn't have, one, the time, or two, maybe like the bandwidth to bring in a woman, but I wonder what it would have looked like if he had been interviewed by a woman.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like, how would he have reacted differently? Like we talked about in the last one, they brought in the woman, she had her hair up in the pony. Like, there were ways that they like drew him out.
Yeah.
But he was just trying to be so buddy-buddy with these dudes.
Yeah.
Didn't he say something? I don't remember. I might be jumping ahead here. But at one point to one of the guys, he's like, if we weren't in this situation, and the situation being he's being interviewed and interrogated because he's got women's bodies cut up. He's like, if we weren't in this situation, you and I would go get a beer.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
He's just so upsetting. And what you were saying earlier, the part that I would just feel sick to my stomach, the second they would ask him a more direct question, he would go, can somebody give me more water? Can I go sit at that table?
It's kind of cold in here.
It's cold in here. It's really cold.
Yeah.
And you're like, he just wanted everyone to like bend for him. Like it was 100% just this like, I'm going to do my best, because he thinks he's the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
And he 100% thought that he was in a power position. And he was like, and then when something would go wrong, where like he was like, I asked for the combo from Wendy's. And they're like, oh my God, we forgot to get you the combo. I'm so sorry. He's like, yeah, it's supposed to come with this other thing. And they're like, oh gosh, we're so sorry. And he's like, it's okay. It's okay, guys. I'm not even mad about it. And like, he so thinks he's giving them grace. It's the most bizarre dynamic. And they have to do it this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is it. Because if they mess up, if they cross the line, the whole thing can get thrown out. The burden of everything is on them to do this, and that job stresses me out.
It was ick. Watching him as ick. So, inside the house, besides all the clutter, the police say, look, we found blood spatter on the baseboard, up on the walls leading into his room. They found blood on a blue-handled hammer that was bent. The hammer was bent. I mean, people, a hammer being bent is incredible. The force behind that has to be incredible. Like, I can't. So they show us a picture of this blue hammer that it's bent and it has blood, and then the knife. So they go and they test the tissue and the blood on this hunting knife, and it comes back to a completely different female, a totally different person than Rory that's in the freezer. It comes back to a missing girl from 10 years ago named Candace, that they never found her. They have no idea what happened to her, but her blood is in Adam's apartment. They show us a picture of Candace, right? She kind of looks like Rory. She's 19 years old, right? She's thin, a smaller statue kind of girl with brown hair. So after that, the prosecutors decide that they're going to drop the charges for indignity, and so they can interview him again and charge him with murder. So they're finding a little loophole in the way they do their system. But that was a big risk because they had everything to send him to prison for this indignity for a body, for dismembering Rory. But they didn't have anything for murder charges yet. So they had to do another interview to be able to try and get him to confess to murdering Rory and Candace. And we do this at work all the time. It's called dismiss and refile. This happens literally on the daily in court, where if they show up for a hearing, say on a drug charge, and they haven't got the labs results back to prove that it was meth or cocaine or heroin, they will dismiss it and immediately refile the next day when the test results come back in saying, yeah, it was cocaine, or yes, it was heroin. So I'm not surprised that they did that, but they dismissed the indignity. They charged him with 2 counts of murder. And so they decide to bring in a different interviewer. Apparently this person is well known there, and he's a skilled interviewer that they have to try and get Adam to confess to murder somehow. And his name is Paul, and he shows up in this 3-piece suit, right? And he says, look, I wanted Adam to know that I was a professional, and this is a big deal, and this is what we're going to do. You know, Paul said he did research for 3 weeks before he interviewed Adam, watched all these videos, and knew that the way that the police were talking to him, I guess the first time around, wasn't going to work, kind of being direct, asking him out from the gate, right? Did you do it? Do you know who she is? How did you kill her? Where did you find her? All these things where he's like, I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm not going to tell you anything. So this Paul guy comes in, and it is a year, 1 year later, which is incredible to me. Paul comes in to interview him on the murder charges. So he sits down, and they're immediately schmoozing, where Adam says, you know, I've been taken really good care of here. And Paul's like, yeah, that's going to continue today, buddy. Do you need anything? Right? And obviously Adam's like, I haven't eaten anything. So gets him more food, brings him food in, and they haven't even, discussed what they're going to talk about. So they're eating their food. They talk about watching TV shows. They talk about eating sushi. It's just very strange to watch this whole process. Yeah. Paul said it went on for about an hour and a half, this weird chit chat thing. And he's like, I have to start asking him questions because I only have this another 24-hour period, because he has another bail hearing for these murder charges. So Paul only has these 24 hours to talk to him. And Paul says, Adam asks him, so have you found anything else? I mean, I guess besides the whole skeletal structure. What? Adam says that to the police officer. Like, it's so hard for an empathetic, sympathetic, obviously not serial killer person to wrap my head around these questions that he is asking the police, and not having any shred of sorrow or dignity, empathy, or anything. Like,
he doesn't consider these girls people.
Oh,
He considers them whatever he wanted to use them for.
right,
Like
right.
he found them, they were his.
Right. And again, like I said in the beginning, we don't know how Rory came across Adam, how the two of them came to be in each other's company. We don't know that. That's probably another show, but I guess that's fine not to know, but you can only speculate. I don't know. I just don't know. But they show us a photograph of the drain that they had pulled the flesh out of. And I was so confused about this picture because I was wanting or thinking I was going to see like pictures of like pink meat or something, but it was like this black, muddy sludge stuff that had like this gray or this white, I don't know, cement or something around. I don't know what I was looking at because if that is what they pulled out, how do they know that that's flesh besides the smell? I don't know. So they show us this picture. It's really weird looking. Adam asks for a cigarette and Paul goes and gets him a cigarette and they talk about secondhand smoke and can you do anything with the ventilation? And Paul's like, nope, it's totally fine. And so Paul tries to go over this timeline with Adam. Says, okay, she went missing in August, and in September when they found the torso, Paul says, the mom knew that it was Rory immediately. Adam remarks, yeah, I read that in an article that, the mom knew it was her daughter and it was mother's intuition. It kind of like he was, I don't know, happy or proud. And it was very strange, this reaction that when he was describing how he was reading the article of the torso being found, like he was proud, I don't know, of the torso story being in this newspaper or this wherever it was written. Paul says, yeah, the mother remarked, right, that's not just my daughter, but that's my unborn grandchild. And Adam says, no, she wasn't pregnant. And Paul says, well, how do you know? And Adam's like, I really shouldn't say, but I know 100% that she was not pregnant. And I'm watching this going, this is not going to end well. This conversation is going to be bad. I don't want to know how Adam knows that she was not pregnant. I don't want to know, but he tells us. Adam just says, look, I didn't see a baby. What do you mean you didn't see a baby? Like, again, in the picture, the video we saw, she didn't look pregnant. She could have been, first trimester, maybe starting second trimester when you don't really show, but he says, I didn't see a baby. And then he just says, I know everybody knows I chopped her up. And then he says, I literally held her entire reproductive system in my hands. She was not pregnant. I mean, I had to stop the show for a second going, I have to take that in as another human being. Like, that is sadistic and horrific. And he was saying it as a matter of fact, like the sky's blue, that sun is shining.
It was that he needed to prove a point, and he needed to prove that point in a way that he thought would impress the interrogator. And I think the interrogator handled that as well as you could. But
oh my God. Yeah.
I mean, what the? Ugh.
Yeah. Paul, he shook his hand right after that. He stood up and shook his hand.
Thank you for telling me that.
Thanks for telling me that. Probably, playing into Adam's narcissism, like, yeah, man, I gave you something. So then Paul says, I'm going to show him this presentation that I have. And it's these slides on his laptop of all the evidence that they have against him, right? All these pictures, right? The pictures of inside of his house, the pictures of these knives and hammers, the blood, right? Pictures of her. And so he scoots next to him and he opens his laptop and Adam's like, you got something to show me? And he's super interested.
Thrilled that someone's put a presentation together about his work.
Thrilled. And so Paul's showing him, right, he's got a slide of what Rory and Candace look like, their pictures, these beautiful pictures of their family. is remembering how they were, pictures of the article of the torso being found, a slide of the hammer that's bent, a slide of the plumbing. And then Paul stops and says, after that, I bet it was hard to sleep, right? It probably had a hard time getting to sleep. And Adam's like, no, I slept just fine. I'm fine. Okay. Paul tells him that, Rory had bruises all over her body. Adam's like, I don't know anything about that. He shows him, or he says to him, sorry, and he shows him pictures of inside the house. And Paul's like, yeah, this is what we found. And Adam was like, you found that in the apartment? Wow. Right. And that is one emotion besides disappointment from not getting French fries that we see out of Adam.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
And Paul, the police interrogator, he says, I'm trying to show Adam, right? Look, we have all of this evidence. There's no use in denying it anymore. You might as well just tell us what's going on. And Adam says, is that all you got? What? Is that all you got? That is his response. My brain cannot understand what I'm watching with this guy. So Paul's asking him about the body or the body parts that are in his freezer, asking Adam about finally putting the flesh down the drain and saying, how did that work? Was it frozen? Was it completely thawed? Like, how did that work? And he said, no, it was completely thawed out. And Paul said, how did that must have taken a really long time. How did that happen? And he goes, no, it didn't take long at all. I just put it in the bathtub and just kept, having to drain the water and fill it back up with hot water to thaw out the body parts. Paul at one point tries to say, okay, so if you're cutting off the flesh, right, you would maybe start from here and you would work your way down here, right, pointing to the shoulder, working down to the elbow. Adam's like, yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. He goes, I didn't really think about it. I don't know. It's so disturbing.
I think he literally says it just wasn't something that was important to me.
Yeah. What?
And Paul's like, it seems like kind of a monumental memory. Like, this should be stuck kind of in your mind. And he's like, no, it's not that big of a deal to me.
No, not really. Then they show it's been over 10 hours that Paul's been asking Adam or with Adam about what's going on. And he says, look, Paul says, like you said in the beginning, everybody's going to be reviewing these videos. I have to make sure that he wants to be here of his own free will, that he's not overly tired, right? He's not overly hungry. I need to know that his needs are being met, right? Cold, hot, different, sad, tired, right? And he asks Adam, right, how are you doing? You still hanging in there? Are you still okay and awake? And Adam's like, yep, I'm good. I'm good to keep going. And that's, a ding, ding, ding for them. They're like, okay, he is here of his free will. He knows he's here. He knows he's not going anywhere. He knows we're still talking. So after over 12 hours still, Adam has not confessed. He's not said, I killed so-and-so. I did this X, Y, and Z. He's never said that definitive of a statement. So Paul finally has to end the interview after over 12 hours with Adam. And Paul says, this fucking guy, as I'm walking out the door, he is still talking to me. He's still, and they show Adam going, yeah, I got nothing better to do. I'm just going to go back to my cell. And it's really kind of shitty in there. I mean, just weird, nonchalant. He wouldn't stop talking, basically. Mm-hmm. So they all sit down and they all say, look, based on all these kind of inculpatory statements that he's made as a whole, they think that they have enough to take it to trial and to show the judge and all the attorneys, because the judge has to find cause for the charge to hold him and to set bail. And so they say the judge sat and watched all 12 hours of this interview. All the attorneys got the videos, watched the interviews. Everybody gave it the green light, and the judge, passed it and said, okay, there's cause to charge him with these 2 murders. And so then he's going to trial because he never said, I killed Rory and I killed Candace. He never even admitted that he knew them. Anyway, so it is now, by the time they go to trial, it's now 3 years after Rory's been missing and 12 years after Candace has been missing. They go to trial. Adam is found guilty and he's sentenced to prison. We find out that Adam is found guilty of first-degree murder for Rory, and he's found guilty of manslaughter for Candace, which is a lesser charge than murder, probably because they didn't have a body and didn't have as much, right, like they did with Rory. So Adam gets sentenced to, like I said, to life in prison without parole for 25 years. So no parole for 25 years. And then 18 years for the manslaughter conviction, running concurrently at the same time. The judge even comments and says, your moment is done and you will never be out in public again, and you're a dangerous person. I really appreciate when these judges say these statements to these people, because a lot of times these offenders think that the judge isn't allowed to talk to them, kind of give their personal opinions, and they do quite a lot. So the family is happy, and they're able to find peace, and so that was in March. By November of that year, and this is 2021, Adam tells the police that he wants to tell them where Candace's body is. All of the sudden, he wants to say, yeah, Candace's body is X at a different location. They actually let Adam out. They take him on a field trip of sorts to show him the location of where Candace's body is. And the police are saying, look, we don't think that Adam has suddenly found remorse or by the goodness of his heart that he is telling us where Candace's body is. We just think he was bored and wanted a field trip.
He just wants out.
He just wants out.
Yeah, he just wants to be out of the jail. It's not as fun as I think he thought it would be.
Yeah. But again, like last week, the police are very proud of how they handled it. And again, in Canada, having to have that high of a burden doing your interviews is incredible to me. And how well they did with this man who I hope never gets out. They did a really good job. And I don't know that I have never seen someone go to prison for murder that they haven't confessed to it. It's all based on this video.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm wondering if there's more to the court side, the trial.
Sure.
Then, I mean, they're not going to give us that in this. This is all about the interrogation. But there's also this part of me that goes, do you think he did it to more women? 10 years in between?
Sure. Yeah.
And, like, they only found 2 sets of DNA, but, like, something tells me he's done some, like, there's no, I don't believe that it just happened twice.
No, I don't either.
You know?
Yeah, no, I agree. Absolutely agree. I wouldn't be surprised if they find more. For sure.
Like, eventually he'll be like, by the way, I'm bored. Do you want to hear about this?
Yeah.
Everything about him makes me feel nauseous.
It's a huge ick. He's just so bad.
He's a walking ick. It's awful. He's so horrible. Mm-hmm. And the other thing, not that we're shaming anyone, but she was having some sort of mental crisis.
Yeah.
Mental emotional crisis.
Yep.
And her friend's mom and her friend took her to the hospital, which I think, was a kindness. But then they left. I bet they were racked with guilt for like.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right?
Totally. I 100% thought that. Absolutely. And I just don't know why they left either. Like, I don't get that, but
and
I agree.
There's a million reasons.
Sure.
I'm so sorry. I don't know where that's coming from. But there's like a million reasons that things happened the way that they happened. that we're never going to know, but just so much of that, just you feel so
sad.
awful for her.
Yeah.
So awful.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad that he is forever.
That's this week. Yeah. So next week is Christmas, and we will have something. We'll see for next week.
Like Christmas murder.
I don't know. I don't know. I was thinking about
that exists.
I don't think that exists.
I don't know that we want that. I don't know that that's something that you want.
No, maybe since it's Christmas, we'll just talk Housewives because we didn't talk Beverly Hills today either. So
Beverly Hills. I'm a little bit behind.
Yeah.
I did watch another episode of Vanderpump.
Okay.
And still can't.
Okay.
I don't like. I like. What is it? Venus.
Yes.
I like Venus, and that's it.
Okay.
I can't enjoy anybody else. And then Boat Show is really good right now.
Okay.
It went from being terrible to very, very good.
Okay.
I don't know if you can make it all the way through because there's a lot of episodes, but Captain Sandy is a really great captain. I'm not usually that like into her. I just think that she's been a really good boss.
Yeah.
She's not even that like dramatic or anything. She's just a really good boss. Whereas like I kind of feel the same way about Captain Lee, Stud of the Sea. He was the OG one. He was the first one. And he was just a really good boss. But then he'd say ridiculous things because he was an old man.
Yeah.
He was an old sailor. And he'd talk about how he's going to eat everyone's ass. And then like, oh, Captain Lee, stop saying that. He's like, I'm madder than a wet hen covered in piss. And you're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Where did that come from? So like that was what was fun about him. Captain Sandy's just being a really good captain this season.
Okay.
She's boring, but she's really good. And then all the drama, all the fucking drama.
Yeah.
Stews. Kizzy, if anyone else is watching, my opinion is Kizzy is a bad person.
Okay.
And so is Joe. Joe and Kizzy are bad people that need to go to therapy. But that's it.
Nice. Awesome.
Do you have any hot takes for your Vanderpump or strong feelings?
Not yet. I mean, I still like watching it. I didn't watch this week's. Yeah, I still didn't watch this week's episode. I watched the first two. I liked it. I liked Audrey having her birthday. I thought she was cute. I don't know. I like the eyebrow cousins. I think they're funny. I don't know.
I just don't think anyone's compelling enough. I don't feel like anyone has the like grip on me.
I get that.
I used to.
I get that.
And I miss Tom Schwartz. I want Tom Schwartz on my television.
Okay. All right. Well,
we'll see where we're at next week. The Valley's going to come back eventually, so we'll see that at some point. And he'll be on that.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you.
Podcast with me. And we love you guys for listening.
Yeah.
And we will talk to you next week. Bye.